So I'm going to start with this discussion with Hiruzen, and then I'm going to show you some of the grooming that they do. Okay, I can't show you everything because I don't want to reveal all the victims' names and stuff, but I just want to show you what I can to show you what's happening. Okay, and you can decide for yourself. Like, look, if you don't think this is grooming, okay, it fits the definition of grooming and all that, but okay, do whatever you want. You can decide whatever you want to believe. I'm just reporting the facts. Okay, that's all I'm doing here. So in this trip in this I was fighting with these guys in one of the servers, Bible Baptist Soteriology, I think it's called. And then so then I was fighting with them all day yesterday, and then today, I think it was today that me and Hiruzen started fighting. Okay, so then he says no grooming allowed in here. And then I said this, that you were literally up in the DMs about 5 or 6 kids in my server the other day. Which is true. As soon as I called him out on being groomers and stuff and other things like that, he started going into the DMs of certain people on my server, certain young people, to try and get them to go into his server, get them by themselves, and talk to them about their weird beliefs like preterism, which is a heresy. So I'm just stating facts when I say this, right? He privately DMs young people who he does not know, right? In order to get them to join him in private VCs, in order to talk to them about heresy and basically convince them to believe heresies, all right? This is documented. This is clearly what they're doing, all right? So call that what you will. Call it what you will. I'll call it grooming because it fits the definition of grooming. You can call it whatever you want, but that's what they're doing, okay? So he goes, also stop talking about ham signs. It's so boring. Just join VC so I can expose you. Because he's just responding to my thing about how he was up in the DMs about 5 or 6 kids in my server. And then I was saying about Moses, how you openly do it. Why are you punks always talking to little kids like Moses and Zitchy? Right? And I don't know what I said in the rest of that comment, but then Moses comes along and says, you're acting like I'm brain dead. Marco admitted that I'm smarter than him and I teach him. And he teaches me a lot too. He teaches me a lot too. Anyway, I should have laughed. This is not funny. This is very serious. But anyway, so this adult, Marco, right, talks to this young man, a young teenage man like brother Moses, who's like 15 years old, right? He's a grown man. Marco's a grown man. Okay, he talks to this 16-year-old privately in DMs, teaches him about heresies. All right, and then like, as if he could teach anyone anything, about the Bible, right? But then Moses is like, oh, he teaches me, I teach him, we teach each other. And he's like, he's way better than me at debating and conversion. Therefore, we combine in our partners. So Marco's better at conversion of people to their false heresy, right? And so what he's talking about is Marco is good at manipulating young people into believing heresies because he's good at manipulating people. He's good at deceiving them. He's good at taking little kids and messing with their heads. All right, that's what he's talking about here. This guy's literally admitting what I'm telling him. He's basically strengthening my argument, giving me evidence for what I'm saying. He's trying to say he thinks he's like opposing me, but all he's doing is rationalizing. But when they rationalize the grooming, that's evidence of them being groomed. Okay, so that's what I said, because he says this is like Noah the mailman was saying something to them about it, right? And Noah put this screenshot of Moses where, I don't know if you can read that, but it says, I don't learn from Marco. We are partners. Sometimes I teach him, sometimes he teaches me. But either way, let's say he's my master. That was in the past. And then Marco goes, partners, moron. He teaches me things as well. So utterly sick. But anyway, I said this. This just reinforces what I was saying. You're trying to rationalize obvious grooming behavior. He's a grown man hanging out with you, a little kid. He's influencing you with weird ideas. Then you try to rationalize it, which is more evidence you're being groomed. Because the whole rationalization of grooming is part of the grooming. The groomers will tell you how to rationalize it. They'll tell you, they'll get in your head like, oh, we're just friends, buddy. Oh, you're teaching me too. And he's like, they fill up their head, they big up their heads, you know? Anyway, so then it goes on now, and then he says, then Moses goes, okay, you hang out with minors. If he's grooming me, debate him. If he's such a heretic, debunk him. You're a joke to this community. Bro, by your logic, a teacher is a groomer, a pastor is. Every adult to kid relationship is grooming. He literally makes me a better person. I lost weight, I look better, I'm smarter. You're 40 plus and I'm already greater than you in works. So this kid thinks he's greater than me in works. Now, I don't know, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but I'll tell you what, Moses, you going around teaching heresy to young people, trying to convince young people into your heresy, that doesn't make you greater than anybody in works. That makes you a heretic. It makes you a wicked heretic, okay? A sinner in your flesh. That's what you are. That's what heresy is. A heresy is the work of the flesh. Galatians 5:20. So I said, I have a community of mixed age groups. I don't try to get minors alone in VCs and teach them heresies. The fact you don't see the difference just shows how much of an indoctrinated victim you are. Okay? And then he goes, and then here's he goes, so do I, you biscuit. I don't even know what that means. And then he goes, and then Moses is like, bro, we literally invite anyone. We have workies. Exactly, Hiruzen says. Futurists and VCs debate them. We literally go to Catholic servers and debate for hours. We debate everyone. This is well known. Toronto's such an idiot. Well, I don't care if you debate. Who cares if you debate people? What does that have to do with it? So I said this. This just shows you have no defense for the charges of grooming, Hiruzen. You resort to mockery and deflection, distracting from the points. The fact you invite workies and go to Catholic servers doesn't change the obvious grooming pattern of trying to isolate young people by DMing them and getting them in VCs. Everything you guys are saying just proves my point further. You have no ability to engage with the charge of grooming honestly. You're using your public accessibility, quote unquote, as a smokescreen for your private manipulation of young people. Okay? And then Hiruzen just goes, oh, bro, you're a clown. Like this, like they don't have a defense. They don't have a defense. What I'm saying is true. So they have no ability to counteract me or disprove me with logic or facts or anything. So all you can do is just insult me and just get more and more stupid. He goes, I have better doctrine than you, therefore people come to me. It's really that simple. If people, anyway, I think I said something here. Oh yeah, I said, so why do you have to DM young people in my server? If people just came to you here then naturally, because you have such better doctrine, why do you have to DM young people in my server privately, try to get them in DM in VCs and just with your goons and just start attacking them and like going all over them? Why do you have to do that? If you had to do that, if you had really better doctrine, then people would just come to you. You wouldn't have to do anything like that. But that's what you do because you're a groomer, as I said. And he's like, who did I DM? I'm not even in your server, by the way. I could join on an alt if you want. I could join on an alt if you want. Now, first of all, let me just say, Hiruzen probably has 2 or 3 alts in my server right now. He always does that, okay? Now he's trying to say I'm not in your server. Well, okay, maybe that's true. Probably not. But he's admitting I can join on an alt if you want. Because that's what he does. He admits it. He admits that he's deceptive like that he hides his identity and goes into places where he's not welcome so that he can manipulate young people again, as I said. Okay, that's what this guy does. I hope you guys can read that. Anyway. So then Moses goes, how do you expect to preach? Either VC or DM, which we do both, you fool. Either you VC or you DM. There's lots of ways to preach other than VC or DM. Anyway, what are you talking about? If you had a big VC with tons of people there, why do you go DM people you don't even know, and then try to get them to join your dumb VCs? Anyway, I think I started my comment here, but anyway, and this is what I said. Oh, and he goes, how do you expect to preach? You're a fool. Mike, stop being a fool, please. I said this. You know who you DM'd. I'm not going to expose my people. They're not the only ones. Your pattern is known and provably so. The fact you're not in my server now doesn't change what happened. The fact you're offering to join it on an alt just proves the manipulative, deceptive behavior I'm pointing out. You probably got a few alts in there anyway. You're dodging accountability for your obvious grooming behavior. The issue is your ongoing attempts to reach out to the young and vulnerable privately under the guise of debate or Bible study and teaching them heresies you learned on YouTube. That's the issue, right? Not this other whatever he's talking about. I don't even know. And then Hiruzen goes, empty accusations. You simply don't got it like me. It's that simple. I speak to the majority of people publicly. I'm just persuasive. The majority of people. Well, why do you have to DM privately people in my server? If I don't have it like you, this is what I said. If I don't have it like you, why do you have to get people in private VCs? I teach people publicly. You guys have every opportunity to debunk what I said. You can dissect my statements. They're all recorded. So yeah, my teachings are publicly. They're available on YouTube, so they can go download the thing, dissect everything I said, disprove everything I said, or whatever they want to do. But they don't do that. Instead, they go privately, DM people in my server, try to get them in VCs, try to Then once you're in a VC with them, right? Then they're all over you. They're just everything you say. They're like they got 10 things to say. They memorized all a list of things to say whenever people say stuff. That's what they do, man. That's how they get you. So if you get in a VC with these people, they're just gonna jump all over you. And he goes, it's that simple. And I go persuasive because he goes, I'm just persuasive, right? And then I go persuasive for little kids in VCs with your goons around. And he goes, I only talked to Nathan. He's a grown man, by the way. That's not true. That's not true. Like I said, I don't want to reveal the people who told me that he DM'd them. I don't feel the need to do that. It happens. If you don't believe me, I don't care. I'm going to show you some evidence of some of it. But there's multiple people in my server, young people who he tries to get DM them. He doesn't even know them. He DMs them and tries to get them to join him in VCs, so that, like I say, him and his goons are gonna go around them and talk all this weird stuff to them. That's what they do. So he goes, join my server, set the captains free. Please expose me. You know you don't want the smoke. You simply don't have it like me. You would get exposed. That's why you only want to do text messages, you coward. I'm just like, look, it's a circus in there, right? I go, I'm not just in your circus. This isn't about debating and smoke. This is about you privately targeting minors behind closed doors. That's what you do when you think no one is watching. If you really debated privately, you wouldn't need to DM young people on my server or secretly inviting them to your Bible study in private VCs. Now you want to move this into some dumb low IQ debate in front of your brainwashed followers like Moses and your goons like Wu and Marco. What a joke. Which is exactly what he wants to do. If I go into this dumb VC and debate them in front of Wu and Marco, they're just brainwashed idiots. They're just going to believe whatever he says. And whatever I say, they're just going to dismiss it. That's what they are. That's what they're like. So it's just a waste of my time. Anyway, let's see what this one says. Secretly, LOL. Everyone's invited. It's not a secret. Why do you think everyone knows about it, you idiot? I'm also literally inviting you in public. Bro, you were a donkey. Well, it's not a secret, I said. When you DM young people in my server and invite them to a private VC, that's obviously a secret, manipulative, deceptive tactic to influence young people into your heretical views. Everything I'm saying is facts, eh? Every single thing I'm saying here is 100% facts. It's like undeniable facts. And he goes, private VC in a public server? Yeah, you are cooked. You are really retarded. Well, what is a public server? What is that? If you're in a server, even if it's public, quote unquote, that means somebody has to invite you to get in, right? Or you have to join or whatever. Most people are not in there. And when you're in the VC and it's like Hiruzen and 5 of his goons, and it's like you and like one other person, and they're just like young people. Well, obviously they're gonna be railroading them. Obviously, right? That's what they do. Anyway, then he goes, prove they are heretical. Join the server and debate. Like this guy thinks this is like, oh, I just want to debate you. Like it's like you guys are heretics. You're wicked. I don't want to debate. I don't want to even be associated with you. Like I would rather I don't have to even think about you. But the fact is, you're trying to hurt people in my server. So now I'm going to have to expose you. That's the only reason I'm even talking about you. And then this guy was Crab Tribe was responding to not I but Christ. They were talking about how there's division in the free grace community. Well, I'm sorry, there's division, but these guys are not barely free grace. They're heretics. They're not free grace. They're heretics. If you're a heretic, you're not free grace. Okay. If some guy's free grace, but he denies the Trinity, well, he's not free grace. He's just the idiot. He's just a heretic. That's all. These guys are denying the resurrection. They're denying the return of Jesus Christ at the end of time. They're denying this. Okay, it's wicked. And then I just go, you're proving my point. I'm exposing your manipulative behavior, and your response to it is to lie. Oh, I guess I meant lie. Your response to it is to lie, deflect, and use ad hom and slurs. That's what people do when they're caught. That is true. People get caught, they try to do this type of thing. It's deflection. It's just deflection to avoid to avoid accountability. But anyway, so now it's just again, just call retard, call me names and all this stuff, because there's no defense. There's no defense for what he's doing. So all he can do is call me names and stuff like this. Okay? Stop acting retarded. You won't be called a retard. Join the server and debate. Your evasiveness is very clear. If you cared about the people, you would just join and cook me, but you can't. No, it's not true. Cooking him is impossible. They're all going to be around there. Nobody's going to cook him. Because everyone's just going to say, oh, yeah, Hiruzen's right. Because they're all just brainwashed followers. That's all they are. Anyway, I said this. I'm not debating you. I'm protecting my people. This is never about debating theology. It's about your pattern of targeting the vulnerable in private DMs and grooming them behind closed doors. You've done nothing but insult, deflect, debate. That's not debate. You're in full damage control mode. I've already exposed what matters. If people still want to follow you after this, that's on them. I won't give you any more play. You're not worth it. That's what I said. And he goes, you're retarded. That's all they can say. That's all they can say. You're retarded, buddy. Utterly dumb. Then he goes, retarded and a coward. Then he goes, sit back and watch positionalism grow. So he's admitting that he's pushing some weird doctrine that they made up, some novel doctrine, that these untrained fools who never even finished reading the Bible are going to teach you some new doctrine that they developed. Do you understand how ridiculous this is? How heretical this is? Some random who's not even finished reading the Bible, some kid is going to teach you some brand new doctrine. And they're not kids, by the way. Sorry, they're grown men, but they're very young, and they have no experience. They have no training. They have no education in the Bible. Nothing. They barely even read the Bible. If they even finished reading the Bible, I don't know, but probably not. Okay. So he goes, thanks for the motivation. As did what happened last time someone motivated me. What a joke. And he goes, get ready, gird your loins. Like this guy thinks he's like, look at this now. Okay, that was the last thing I said to Hiruzen, okay? That's the last thing I said to him. But look what he did in the prayer request thing of that same server, right? In the prayer request, right? This is a channel for prayer requests, okay? That is, people from this server will go in this channel and post requests for prayer from other members of the server so the other members of the server can pray for them. That's what this channel is for, okay? So this kid, which I didn't hide his name. Sorry, I should have. Hang on. Let me just. Anyway, whatever. It's the kid. Anyway, look. Don't look at the guy's name. Or sorry. Hang on. Let me just try to fix this. I'm gonna shrink down the name. Hopefully, you guys won't see it for a minute. Anyway, sorry. If I revealed your name just now, I'm very sorry. Can't be helped at this point. But I'm afraid it's too late now. I'm very sorry, sir. Oh, it's another one. Oh, it's because they're like in the reply thing. Anyway, my bad, bro. My bad, sir. All right, so now anyway, hopefully that'll be okay. Okay, so this is the prayer request on the channel on the server, right? And then Mike's spiritual father, that's Hiruzen. He changed his name to this. Mike's spiritual father. Okay? Yeah, oh, it's Hiruzen. It's Hiruzen, Faye. Thanks. So anyway, so somebody says, pray for my family and me, right? And somebody else said unspoken importance. Sorry, I forgot her name too. Anyway, shouldn't have done that. Sorry, my bad. My bad, person who I forgot to block your name. I'll do that now. Okay. Anyway, so then he goes, Mike's spiritual. So then this guy goes, guys, please pray for me that I will be more knowledgeable and have more comprehension and more wisdom. So some person on there, by the way, that person who said this is like 15 years old. Okay. So this person says, guys, please pray for me that I will be more knowledgeable, have more comprehension and more wisdom. And Hiruzen goes, just become my disciple. I will give you wisdom. Okay? Just become my disciple and I will give you wisdom. And this kid's 15 years old. Become my disciple. Listen, Christians are not disciples of any man. Okay? We are the disciples of Jesus Christ. Well, he's one man. He's the only man. It's the only. Call no man rabbi. That's what it says, right? Call no man rabbi. Because you have one rabbi who's your Father in heaven, all right? That is how this works. Just become my disciple. I will give you wisdom. Hang on. Let me just cover this thing. Anyway, this kid's name is already booked, but I'll just do it for the future. I'll try to erase it over the thing. But sorry, bro. I booked your name. My bad. But I didn't mean to. But it was like I was rushing to set up this thing on time, and I didn't do it properly. So he says, this you don't even need to look at this one. Anyway, this is kind of that important. But anyway, this is where he says the same thing. Just become my disciple, I will give you wisdom. Who cares about that one? But then I said this: God is the source of wisdom, not man. This is obvious in the Bible, okay? Man is not the source of wisdom. You cannot get wisdom from men. You get wisdom from God, okay? It's quite clear. You can look at these scriptures. There's many more scriptures as well, okay? Look at Jeremiah 17, 4 to 8, or something like that. It's about how you shouldn't trust in man, all right? You cannot get wisdom from men. You get wisdom from God. That's the only source of wisdom, okay? So when men come and try to tell you, oh, be my follower, be my disciple, when you're a disciple of Jesus Christ, well, that's a man trying to replace Jesus Christ. That's a man trying to replace Jesus Christ. That's blasphemy. That's wickedness, okay? That's cult attitude, cult behavior, okay? So I said, God is the source of wisdom, not man. I said, if you pray for wisdom and faith, God will give it to you. James 1, 5 to 6. I'll be praying for you as well, brother. And I said, no man can give you wisdom, only God. Beware of any false teacher that blasphemously tries to take his place in your life, God's place in your life. You are the disciple of Jesus Christ, not any man. So that's what I said, okay? Which is true. Then as later on, now Wu gets involved. Starts trying to say that, oh, I'm accusing them of being groomers. He's trying to say, like, these guys are such clowns. They're trying to say, because they told them they're groomers, right? Which is, again, a demonstrable fact, which I have proven by factual evidence, by using the definition of grooming and then showing that they fit the definition of grooming. That's how I proved that these people are groomers. Okay, and I've just shown you more evidence. Just this is grooming. This is grooming. He's asking a 15-year-old kid to be his disciple. He's asking his 15-year-old kid to be his disciple, and he's going to teach him heresies. This is literal grooming. Literal grooming. Okay? Now let's move on. Now this guy goes like this. This guy's trying to say, oh, they try to turn it around on me. This is what groomers do. This is what these kind of people do. Because they know that I called them out for their wickedness, right? So now he's trying to say, oh, you can't stop talking about little kids. You can't stop talking about little kids. Maybe you're the one who's obsessed with little kids. No, you idiots. It's like if you're trying to take a kid out of a fire. Imagine a kid's burning alive in a fire, and you go and grab the kid out, and they go, "Hey, don't touch the little kid. Are you a groomer? Are you a pedo?" You know what I'm trying to say? You know how ridiculous this is? Anyway, so you're the one that can't take little kids out of your mouth. I talk about how you guys isolate and indoctrinate little kids. You actually do those things. You see the difference, groomer? So, yeah, these guys actually isolate and indoctrinate little kids, whereas I don't do those things. That's the difference. I'm talking about them doing those things. That's not me being obsessed with little kids. Absolute idiots. And he goes, I haven't indoctrinated little kids specifically. It's for everyone. Everyone that is interested. You can get a tool, man. Let me save you from GES. And then this is the guy who was here earlier. He goes, bro, these kids are like 17 to 19. You're calling them groomers. Meanwhile, you're 40 plus talking to little kids in your Discord. Look, man, I everything I do in my Discord is public. I don't go in VCs and try to like hide out. Even we do have a VC thing, right? But it's not like I'm trying to like teach some heresies. Everything I teach is what do you call it? Protestant orthodoxy. Every single thing I teach is Protestant orthodoxy, okay? As we discussed, we're more orthodox than the Protestants. So no. And then he goes, and then Wu's like, oh, I think this guy just loves drama. I'm not gonna lie. He says I groom kids when I talk guys that are 15 to 19. He's admitting it. He's admitting he talks to kids that are 15 to 19. 15. Right? Like imagine you're 22 or whatever, however old this guy is, and he's talking to a 15-year-old about heresy. And you don't think you're gonna have the ability to influence that kid, a 15-year-old kid who doesn't know anything, compared to the 22-year-old man? You think there's no difference there? You think there's no power differential there? You absolute idiots. Anyway, and then this racist punk, he goes like this. Plus, your people gang rape and molest children in real life. That's what this guy's trying to say. Like as if the entire Indian race is a bunch of gang rapists and molesting children. This is what this person's trying to say. This racist. That's his defense for my obvious like pointing out that they're groomers, right? And this guy's another one too, Janos. He goes in there. Why is this guy? This guy's a grown man too. He comes in these little kid discords. He's just yapping with them all day about his heresies. Wickedness, man. And then he's trying to say, oh, I talk to kids that are 10 to 15. I don't know what he's talking about. I do not. Anyway, I don't know why he thinks teaching people how to interpret the Bible is grooming. How do you know how to? You don't even know how to interpret the Bible. You have no clue. You have no clue. You have no training, no education in it. What is your credentials? What is the proof that you know how to interpret the Bible to teach anyone? What evidence do you have of this? Nothing. Anyway, so now they're trying to say I'm trying to defame them or whatever. Meanwhile, him and his people are at water parks groping kids. Again, another racist comment from this fool, right? Who is this guy who's accusing people of being groomers? Isn't that what you do? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. So that's what these guys do. Okay? That's what they do. When they're confronted on their grooming practices, they try to deflect. They try to turn it around on you, make it seem like you're the one, and all this other stuff. And by the way, another piece of evidence for you guys as to how these guys are groomers, right? Is that remember last night when I was talking to you about that guy Number in my Discord? As soon as I mentioned his name, that very night, these guys sent him DMs, and they're like this. I don't know if you probably can't read this, right? But I'm gonna say this. This is like from some guy named Tom Constable Fan. All right. And he goes, the gospel is this. Jesus Christ came to save sinners. He died for your sins and rose again so you could be made right with God. And then he posts John 3:16. And then he goes, if you trust in him alone, God counts your faith as righteousness. Trust in him. Trust in. Where does the Bible say trust in him, Tom Constable Fan? You absolute idiots. And then he puts Romans 4:5. And he goes, when you believe in Jesus, he gives you living water, eternal life. And he put the thing from John 4. And you are made forever, holy forever by his one sacrifice. And then he put Hebrews 10:10. And then he put this thing about good works and chastisement. This is what he sent to Number that same night. That same night. And he sent them some invite to their dumb server too. And this is what is good works and chastisement. We believe the good works are the natural result of salvation. The natural result of salvation, that's backloading. Who is this guy? Who is this guy Tom Constable fan? What the heck? Anyway, he goes, so they say good works are the natural result of salvation, but they are not required to stay saved. A truly saved person is a child of God forever, even when they fail. However, because God is the loving Father, he disciplines his children when they go astray. His goal is not to punish, but to lovingly correct and bring us back into fellowship with him. And that's okay. But when you say good works are the natural result of salvation, that's backloading. So these guys are just complete backloading heretics on top of the fact that they're preterist heretics. Just ridiculous. Anyway, so there's some more stuff here. Hang on. Give me 1 sec here. So this is some more stuff that these guys were doing. These wicked heretics. Oh, this is like... Oh, wait. What's happening? Sorry. This is... Moses was talking to some kid. I don't know this person, but somebody sent me this, so I'm just showing it to you. Moses was talking to this kid, right? In this kid's DM. And he goes, why you leave? Why you leave their dumb server, right? And the kid's like, because the foundation of preterism that every prophecies have been fulfilled is false. Good. This kid's smart. And then if that were true, then there wouldn't be any death, pain, sorrow, nor crying whatsoever in the world. Exactly. Thank you, young person. I forget your name. And then Brother Moses goes, I can explain that in VC. Also, I already proved Jesus said he would come back in their lifetime. If you want to keep being futurism, go ahead. So you see how they pressure people like, oh, well, you want to be a futurist? What's wrong with you, man? You know what I mean? That's what they're acting like, you know? And then he goes, I can explain in VC. Oh, if you want to go, yeah, you read that right? Then just like this. Look, did Jesus say all those things would occur in the first century? If yes, then you're denying that it hasn't happened is to deny what Jesus said. You're literally calling Jesus a false prophet. You know that, right? So now what this fool is trying to say is that if this kid doesn't believe his dumb interpretation of like Luke 20:21-32 or whatever, that therefore you're a heretic or you're a false prophet or you're calling Jesus a false prophet. Do you know what you know how? First of all, that's like spiritual abuse, by the way. This is abuse. This is like an assault, you know? And the kid's like this, no matter what, Jesus is true to his word. This kid's smart. This no matter what, Jesus is true to his word. Jesus did say something like that in that generation in the Bible, but the context that you guys give doesn't correlate with Revelation 21. It's written that in Revelation 21 that there wouldn't be any more things like death and crying, but there still is. And when it's said, no more crying, etc., it's literal, because if you can cry in the flesh, that's still crying whatsoever. And then this guy goes, so what's true, Jesus' words or revelation? You disagree, he said their generation. So now he's trying to say Jesus' word. He's trying to hold Jesus' words in the Bible over another part of the Bible. You understand how sick these people are? These people are sick. They're sick in their heads. It's like I feel sorry for them. Like we should pray for them, you know? I hope you will pray for these people. But this is like mental sickness and spiritual sickness to say this. He's trying to say Jesus' words, we should hold Jesus' words over the book of Revelation. When Jesus' words are part of the Bible, they're all Jesus' words. The whole Bible is Jesus' words. Anyway, you just agreed he said their generation. Also, you're doing a huge error. You're interpreting it in a way that contradicts what Jesus said. So either Jesus is lying, the Bible contradicts, or you're false. See what they're saying? He's saying if this kid doesn't like agree with his dumb interpretation, right? that therefore he's saying Jesus is a liar. That is spiritual abuse. Okay? When a like a spiritual leader or whatever Mother Moses is trying to be, right? When they say this kind of thing to you, that's your cue to just turn around and leave, because that is just wickedness. Okay? And then the kid's smart though. The kid's like, neither the Bible nor Jesus is wrong, and that's final. Amen. Amen, brother. And then he's like, let's VC tomorrow. Again, VC, DMs. They can't do this publicly. They can't publish a paper that proves their dumb position. They can't do it. They actually tried to do some dumb paper on John 15 or whatever. It's so utterly sick. And this is what Crafty sent me. Look what he tried to say to Crafty, this wicked false teacher. This guy's wicked, man. Trey, TDK, and Noah just dodged me and Marco. They're horrible at theology. And then Crafty goes, are you crosses too? And Moses goes, no. Then what are you debating him about? And then Moses goes, well, I don't know. I believe someone could be saved without the specifics, but I think that's literally impossible. I don't know what that is. Then Moses goes, preterism, of course. Oh, what are they debating about? Preterism, of course. We are in VC in my server. And she's like, oh, of course. And then I guess this is in some server in the chat, right? He's like, anyone want to talk about, if Jesus came back already tonight? And the Crafty's like, he did? And she has this face? This is the face with like, I guess it's the face when you're like kind of like stressed out or something. I don't know what that face is, but anyway, she's making a face, man. It's not like a good face. And then he's like, yeah, let's talk. And then she's like, okay, like here. And he's like, give me like an hour. Is that fine? Or we can do it tonight. She's like, okay, tonight's good. Anyway, I had some other stuff. Look, there's too much VC, there's too much of these things. I couldn't even organize it all. There's too much of these things, too much evidence of their wickedness. And there's other stuff that I don't want to show you because I want to keep some people their privacy or whatever, right? But I hope what I've shown you just now, is enough for you to understand that these people are false teachers. They're wicked heretics, and they're trying to groom young people into their false theology and their wickedness. Because when you know what this is when false. What does it say? Hang on, let me find this thing. Oh yeah, you know in Jude 1:4, there's certain men crept in unawares, ungodly men, turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness. That's what these people are. That's what they are. Okay? Ungodly men creeping in unawares. They're using Moses as the bait. Exactly, bro. You telling about the missiles? Yeah. You know they try to scare Crafty with all this stuff. This is like they're trying to get in her head, dude. They're trying to like mess with her head. They're telling her all this stuff. Russia's gonna attack Texas and you're gonna get missiles on your house and all this stuff. They're trying to scare her, man, with all this end time stuff, all this wickedness. They're wicked. Why would you want to scare this little girl? I mean, I'm not trying to say you're a little girl, Crafty. I'm not saying that. She's a young woman, right? Or she's getting there. She's almost like, but she's still a minor. And she's obviously by herself, a young person by herself with these idiots. Marco's like a shark, like a wolf, dude. This guy knows exactly what to say. He's so manipulative. He'll be so nice to you, and then as soon as he's done with you, he'll turn around. He'll just utterly just destroy all your confidence, all your everything you ever loved about life. He'll just destroy you with his words. He's wicked. He's absolutely wicked. And then look what Pickleball says. Since Moses is a kid, they use him as the bait so they can lure them into VC with Hiruzen and Marco. Exactly. They get the kid to get these young people in. Then who's going to talk to them now? Hiruzen, Marco, Woo, or those other idiots. I don't even know who else they have. That's what they do. It's a strategy. It's a perfect grooming strategy. It's a whole operation. They have a whole they have a methodology. They have a whole system. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, 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 okay. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Studying the Bible with Mike and Pat. These other YouTubers are just so trash. Hit the thumbs up if you wanna support. Go follow Mike as he follows the Lord. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 You better watch out, Mike's calling out the shields. If you're not free grace, you need to sit down and chill. We're not hyper grace, you know we keep it real. Eternally secure, you know that we're sealed. We don't back low, we're not workspace heretics. Mike's not in it for the money, trying to get a lick. They out here selling their souls for a couple clicks. Becoming Freemasons so they can't just get rich. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Shout out to Mike and Pat. Check out his channel, Toronto Bible Study. Subscribe and like.